All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the Underground. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. It is time for our weekly PSVR2 Solo Man podcast. Let's go, baby. We got a lot to talk about today. This, of course, occurs every single Thursday, rain or shine, except for power outages. But then we'll still be made up later. What is up, guys? Hope everyone's been doing well out there. What is that? I see you, Silver Nexus and Blue Drew, the Underground Game Cat, and Jason Ewing. Howdy. Good to see all of you guys. Let me say, are you guys ready? I don't think you're ready for the month of August because holy crap, man. August, it's going down. August looks absolutely stacked right now. So we're going to do a little preview about what's going on, what's up and coming, and the big games you need to be keeping an eye out on. And that's just what we know about. Every single month, there's surprises. Well, not every single month, but a lot of the times there's a lot of surprise releases that nobody was expecting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's even more to come in August than what's on the docket already, but super excited. But first, of course, there is a bunch of news I want to get into, man. Like I said, hopefully, what up, Game Cat's out of the glue bagger says, hoorah! Gabriel, double full license me out, Game Cat. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see all of you guys. So before we get into the August preview, there's a bunch of other stuff going on actually that I want to talk about. Of course, last show, some of you may have heard me share some thoughts on the update for Switchback. However, if you only tune into this show, I don't want to leave you hanging because on the last show I said the Switchback patch had dropped, but I hadn't had a chance to play it. Well, now I have. So just want to share my brief update on Switchback. And funnily enough, not only did this game get patched, but as I've been talking about over and over lately, recently got these Hans VR lenses, and I went from the original blurry, iffy looking version of Switchback VR to not only the new and improved graphically version, but now with Hans VR lenses, it's even more enhanced. But yeah, man, absolutely love this update, to be honest with you. Graphically, the game looks beautiful now. It actually looks almost like one of the, I almost want to say like one of the better looking PSVR2 games. And that's the way it should have been at launch. And, but it really changed a lot about the game for me. Of course, I still have my minor complaints about the game. Some of the pacing, some of the just overall creative designs and here and there. But that being said, I'm actually really pleased with this update. This game is it's not as good or it's not better than Rush of Blood. But that's a pretty high bar that Rush of Blood is set, but it's good. It's in its own right. And I think it's worth checking out after the update for sure. I still think the $40 price tag though is a bit much. If you like absolutely have to, sure, why not? But to me, I wish it would also be the same price as Rush of Blood, which is like around the $20 price range. So that's my 2 cents on it, man. Once this game hits around the $20 mark, you should absolutely pick it up for around that price. And I think it'll be worth the money. There's definitely some good to be had, some good fun to be had with since the update. And yeah, man, I give a tip of the beanie to Supermassive Games for doing this, because they could have just totally abandoned it like they did some other games. They could have released a complete train wreck like they did some other games, but they didn't. This is actually, I'd say, a decent game. I still think I'd probably rate it maybe like a 6 out of 10, but which is basically what it was before the patch. But at least it looks really nice. And when you're on a roller coaster, the the least you can do is make the game look nice. So it looks really nice. I love the first few levels of the game. And just had to give an update on that because now that I've played it, my thoughts have changed just a little bit. The Underground Game Cat Elite Name Squad in the house says, what's up, AJ? Love you, brother. Evening Cats. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Matt and Kuda, hello. Stingray, Nihilist Ryan, my metal feline friend, Hooked Worm. The usual suspects are out tonight. It's good to see all of yous and everyone tuning in later. I really appreciate this show has been getting a lot of support, and I love you guys, man. I really appreciate it. I just love to, I can just ramble about PSVR news, PSVR everything, discussions, all sorts of stuff. I love doing deep dives, and yeah, this show is not exactly for the faint of heart. For the casual person, gamer, you probably will be lost very soon. I probably already lost you, but that's okay. For the hardcore bunch out there, we are having a good time here. Game Cat out of the glue bagger shed some thoughts, share some thoughts on Switchback. Says gameplay is better than Rush of Blood, no drift, graphics far better, but just not as scary. Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little bit there, my friend. I think the creativity I appreciate more about Rush of Blood. The creativity, the pacing. I'm kind of a stickler when it comes to all these nitty-gritty details. Sometimes it's not always about the best looking or the most polished or whatever. Sometimes it's just about the the thought process behind the game design and the execution of it, which is why sometimes, and this is just my opinion. I am everyone's different. You know, I can sometimes let a couple kinks in the armor go for a more ambitious and well executed game. But yeah, man. Let's see here. Not talking about The Room yet, Looper, but very soon. Very, very soon. I have played The Room. Hooked Worm 17 says, appreciate you in the no ad YouTube. Thank you, man. I've decided recently, I don't know if it's for the best or not, but I decided recently just to give a no ads on all my live streams, and you know, I don't know. It's not usually the most common structure for YouTube, I know, but listen, man, at the end of the day, I do this because I love it, and I have a passion for this, and I love PSVR2, and I love all y'all. And while that may not, the ad-free thing might not remain forever, I don't know. I'm not in any rush to re-enable it right now. So the edited videos, damn right they're going to be enabled though. But I just appreciate all your donations, man, and of course the Patrons, these lovely people down here. Y'all support me more than putting some ads on live streams and stuff do anyway. So anyways, but this isn't a place for business. This is a place for fun and hanging out and getting to spend some time with my VR fam. Good to see you, Mark Pringles Leaf and GC13 in the house tonight. Serial Killer says hi. No comment, just hi. It's a lovely comment there. What up, Adam? But so yeah, before we get into my thoughts on The Room, which you might hopefully find interesting, a little bit different. I haven't actually looked at anyone else's review on it yet, so I have no idea if people are saying great things about it or bad things about it. But I really am, honestly, just because I haven't had time. But I look forward to checking out. I saw Without Parole posted their review. I look forward to seeing it, seeing if it's changed at all from last time or what. But can't wait to share my thoughts here with that shortly. But before then, Silver Nexus, thank you so much for the support, man. It says Master AJ of the Game Cat Dojo is mighty and generous. We think, no, man, you guys are generous, man. I just have a good time here, man, and hope to share some of these good times. MRI Gamer, speaking of good times, MRI Gamer is also in the house. Says you do it because you love it, but you also deserve to be supported for your efforts. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I worked another 11-hour day. It's been so crazy. I'm working 6 days a week, 11 hours, but you can't stop me from doing this, man. Nothing can stop me from doing this because, man, I don't know. I'm going to retire right now. But okay, so before we get into my thoughts on the Room VR, there was something else that popped up today that I want to take a look at. Now, you got to take this with a grain of salt, but this comes to us from our good friend Rypop in the Discord. Make sure you guys join the Discord if you haven't yet. It's an excellent place to be. Lots of news. Now, this article popped up, and this is not a sourced article. It's really just speculative, we'll say. But the reason I'm mentioning it anyways is because it's in regards to a game that is one of my more anticipated, if it's happening, which it seemed like. And this was a game that leaked on the German PlayStation blog, and it's been accurate about the games that are coming out so far. But this has to do with Project Wingman. All you aces out there that are interested in, we never got like another Ace Combat. We never got a fully fledged game. This is kind of like the backup plan. So there was an interesting article. The problem is it's called XR Source. I don't know. I don't think they're very credible. So take this with a grain of salt. But just in case there is some truth to this, they are claiming that that the publishers themselves, that Humble Games has shared some new features on the game, including, of course, the features we like to see. Now, this is a dog fighting game that is very popular on PC and flat screen, and it's kind of like the best, supposedly regarded as like one of the better or the best like dog fighting sim, flight sim game. It looks a lot like Ace Combat, which I'm really in need of. I know Ultra Wings will kind of hold me over for a little bit, but I want that realism. But they say players must dogfight, strike, and fly through combat zones based on an alternate history of Earth over the cold waters of the Bering Strait. You'll be attacking tanks in the brutal deserts of the Orient or diving through redwoods to strike targets of opportunity on the California coast. This war will take you across the oceans, above the scarred lands of the world, and through exotic battlefields across the globe, all while going against odds way above your pay grade. But this is the part that I found interesting. Now, again, take it with a grain of salt because there's no actual source. The weird part is, like, if you look at the sources, it's all like the PSVR2 sources. They don't link to anything. They link to like the Amazon page. These guys don't know how to actually properly source things. But with all these summits and things going on recently, I wanted to just talk about this real quick because just in case it is true, sometimes, in many cases, journalists or art outlets will kind of try to protect their sources. We've done this as well over with myself and Without Parole. You want to protect your sources, so sometimes you have to be very vague about things, but again, grain of salt. Engaged. But they talk about that the game will use headset vibration designed to give you to immerse you deeper in the action as you feel the rush of high-speed bogey flying nearby. And this is the one that I thought was kind of cool, was that eye tracking. Players can switch targets on the fly using PSVR2's eye tracking. No need to physically input a button press or simply adjust your target by looking at it. This is a feature that I've actually thought would be really cool in VR. I've had a little bit of a taste of it with Strange Game Studio games, the Awesome Asteroids. where you could actually look around and you could control the turret. That's actually one of the best uses of eye tracking I've seen so far. Really underrated feature, by the way. Eye tracking is one of those things for me where it's like, this is next gen. This feels next gen when games really utilize it well, and especially as a gameplay input is completely different. So I'm really somebody that really loves gameplay first, usually. There are exceptions, but that's usually the thing I care about the most. And I think it works really well with dogfighting. So it's been used. We've seen it used. So this is very much a possibility if true. The other weird thing, so it says, as stated above, Project Wingman for PSVR2 will launch under a new title. And then it says a new title. The funny thing is, I don't see anywhere, unless I missed it. Edition of so I don't see anywhere where it actually says that there's a new title for it. So I don't know what they're talking about here. But they're saying that it's going to be under a new name, Project Wingman Frontline 59, as it's set to be known, is still scheduled for a 2023 launch. So again, take it with a grain of salt. But man, I'm hoping this game does actually release this year. It would be awesome. It would make me very happy because we need some good dog fighting games. And dude, Ace Combat 7, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Ace Combat 7, if that was a full game just like that, that would probably be my favorite PSVR game of all time. I mean, the immersion and the feeling of dog fighting and the way it feels, the way it plays, the way it looks, is just like an adrenaline rush. And it was such a good experience. Here's hoping that the next Ace Combat will have full VR support, which is a possibility. We've seen Shuhei Yoshida on Twitter doing God's work out there, telling the developers of of Ace Combat that we're kind of talking about, the next game, Ace Combat 8 in development, was saying like, please add PSVR2 support. And the developer responded and said, please don't mention that here. So I don't know what Shu's up to, but I like it. And I hope it means something is going on behind the scenes. It would make me really, really happy. I'm sure it'd make a lot of you happy as well. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. One more thing before we kick it over to the Room VR review impressions. Gabriel 004 says, going through the clouds, top tier moment in Ace Combat. That game is, that demo or whatever you want to call it was definitely a top tier moment in all of VR for me. Daringly Average Game Snake says, great eye tracking gets me aroused. Me too, buddy. Me too. It was amazing though. Let's see here. Let me get this up here. I want to answer some questions that were asked in the Discord earlier. Want to do a little mailbag segment here. Thank you guys for always reaching out. This is the Ask AJ section in our Discord. This is of course the PSVR2 Without Parole Discord, where I have my own little section, but just saw that I had missed some conversations that, I didn't really miss them. I just have been so busy. I haven't had time. But I saw that Wild Hour said, asked me if I had a chance to look at the new No Man's Sky update. And sorry if this is small. I don't know how to zoom this in. Wild Hour asked if I had a chance to check out No Man's Sky on PSVR2 with my lenses, with the new Hans VR lenses. And let me just say, it looks worse. Like, dude, No Man's Sky is such a disappointment on PSVR2. Like, I love the game. I always will. I spent about more than 500 hours on PSVR 1 alone. The best version of the game. If you want to play No Man's Sky on PSVR, play it on PSVR 1 on the PS5. That is still the best version of the game. But he was a little shocked at my answer here. And he said, "Oh man, I was hoping the lenses would make it better for you. Are they going to fix it, or do you think this is it?" Here's the thing. If we're not vocal about the game, it'll never get fixed. But if we are vocal about No Man's Sky and, go to they have a Zendesk where you can give feedback, you can report bugs. Go there. I highly encourage you, if you care about the game and want to experience it on PSVR2 the way it should be, meant to be, yeah, I definitely recommend going there and being vocal about it. If we don't say anything, and I'm a little guilty of this too, I haven't been as vocal about it because I've been so preoccupied with other games. But yeah, man, the game looks absolutely awful on PSVR 2. Like when you turn the whole level, like I jumped into it with the lenses, and when I was turning left and right, the world was becoming like pixelated, like no joke. The environments were becoming pixelated. And that's like my favorite part about the game, is the exploration and the beautiful environments and the wildlife to discover. And if you take that out of it, oh my God, it just completely breaks the game for me. So, but Darkwing Chuck says, I have to disagree. Move controllers was worse than the PSVR 2 graphics. I had no problem with the move controllers. I actually think they mapped and configured the controllers for the moves better than they mapped and configured the controllers for the orb controllers. I feel like they bumbled that as well. But that's good, man. I'm not, I don't think, while I'm glad that you're appreciating the game, Darkwing Chuck, I don't think we should settle. I think we need to be more vocal and get them to update the game even more and make it even better. Just my 2 cents, man. And I feel you. I know some people are enjoying the game. Some people were trying to tell me about it like I haven't played almost 1,000 hours of it. And I'm like, dude, I'm a day one player. I pre-ordered the game. I'm still playing on my day one pre-order file. Like, yes, the game is good, but when it came to PSVR 2, it needed to be a lot better. Like, I don't know why you would give them a free pass like, we didn't give Switchback a free pass, and look what happened. Now it got updated. Now it looks a lot better. And I think we need to do the same treatment for Hello Games while they still can support the game and while we still can get an update. Because, dude, it's straight up, to me, it looks better on PSVR 1 on PS5 than it does on PSVR 2, and that's just, it's not good. But let's see here. There was some other one or two more mailbag questions here from the Discord. Let's see here. We've got Easy. Oh, this one I'll bring up a little bit later. Dead Ringer says, not sure if you missed it or just didn't want to comment, so I'm going to ask again. Sorry, Dead Ringer. I didn't mean to ignore your comment. If I see something and then I get preoccupied with something else, especially like text messages, I will forever forget to reply. I think about them. I think about what I'm going to respond with, and then I forget if I move on. I will assume you already have this planned or hated the idea. Would you consider making episode 100 of Saturday Night Live streams a PSVR 1 exclusive night? So we are 2 Saturday Night Live streams away from episode 100. Been doing it for about 2 years. I don't even know at this point, at least 2 years. I think I wouldn't do a PSVR 1 exclusive Dead Ringer, but I would maybe do a split episode. I mean, or I would just throw Dread Halls in there, or I would do a PSVR 2 and then throw Dread Halls at the end. Because that's what everybody wants to see anyways, right? But no, to be honest with you, I've been wanting to revisit PSVR 1. I've been wanting to revisit Astrobot and Blood and Truth and Skyrim. I've been really wanting to play some Farpoint. So I don't really know how I'm going to handle it just yet, But at some point, we're going to do a throwback and play some old school PSVR1 games and just show you how freaking great they are, because they are great. We've all been telling people for several years. Like, I know there's a lot of friction. There's definitely some not so user friendly things about it, accessibility issues, but there are still some great games on there, and I would love to revisit them. So yeah, we'll maybe throw some. I'll maybe throw some PSVR1 games in the mix, or I'll just do a throwback stream, like a retro PSVR stream, which could be a lot of fun. I miss Farpoint 2, man. I miss Farpoint 2, but you know, from what I've gathered from Sony, they're very much about moving forward, and not backwards, or not, you know, they seem like they're very much, from all the developers I've talked to, they seem like they're very much more interested in, you know, trying to make new IPs or sequels or stuff like that than they are remastering, which I don't know why. But like, there's some amazing games in the library. Again, we can will it. We can will it if we're vocal enough. But speaking of PSVR remasters, out today was The Room VR. And by the way, thank you guys for asking those questions in the Discord. There's one that I will, there's a couple other I'll share too in a little bit. The Room VR, a dark matter, originally released, I think, in 2019 for PSVR 1. And I got an early review copy of this, so shout out to them over there, and for providing that for us. And yeah, man. So I jumped back into The Room, and this game, I think, originally got an 8.9 for me. It is a very, very good puzzle game, like really good puzzle game, with some very good special effects, really good atmosphere, and sound design. Those things have all been retained in the PSVR 2 version. So I'm happy to report that this game is good. It is very good, because it's basically the same game. Now, as that is a positive, that is sort of a little bit of a negative for me as well, because what this is it feels very much like a straight port of the original game. And the original game was like really impressive at the time. But with, you know, much more powerful hardware, much more powerful engines, or not engines, but just more powerful hardware of the PS5, a better headset. I kind of would have liked to see a little bit more than just sharper visuals. But sadly, that's about what it is. Now, I don't completely blame the devs, because I think they could maybe get a better return of investment here with what they did. It looks good. It does look good overall. But it's definitely not just, I wouldn't be expecting like a true, this is not a true native PSVR 2 like remaster. This is very much like a slightly enhanced port, basically, of the original title. Luckily, it is a very good game. But some of my complaints that were Roy, some of my complaints from back in the day still remain. I mean, they didn't do, like, literally, they didn't do anything except for up the resolution a little bit and maybe add, like, you know, of course, adapt the haptics or the rumble to the new controllers. But other than that, they didn't do anything, which is a little disappointing as somebody that played the game back in the day and wanted to revisit it. It's still a good game. And all of my some of my complaints, I think, are minor. Things that really should bother me, like the click turning, the node teleportation. These are things that I absolutely despise. But I think because of the way the original IP works, which is on mobile, and it's very like, I don't know. I kind of forgive it a little bit because I think it works okay with this IP and this certain design. It's more so like a good game in VR than it is like a really good VR game, if that makes sense. Visually, it is nice, and some of the moments with the new headset and everything look really nice, especially when it's dark and spooky. It looks great, but the good news here is that it's a free upgrade, and so I think I enjoyed revisiting it. But you know, if you've never played the game before, it'll be the best. The other problem is that they kept the same price point, and I didn't like this price point for it back in the day, because I think the biggest problem the game has is that it's like 3 to 4 hours long, and then that's it. I mean, there's not much more to the game. Even revisiting it several years later, it's like I still remembered the puzzles are really good, but I just like was blasting through it. Like I remembered almost everything about it. Maybe some of the later levels were a little bit more difficult to remember. But it was fun to play again, but it was definitely like there was all the surprise was gone. And that was my problem with the game originally was it was 3 to 4 hours, no replay value. So I cannot stress this enough. I highly recommend this game, but I mostly recommend it on sale because of the lack of replay value. It's not a true like enhanced upgrade. I mean, it's got little enhancements, like I said, slightly better resolution, but graphically it looks. It doesn't look like, you know, they didn't redo a lot of stuff here, which I don't blame them, because I don't think this game, this game wasn't selling like crazy anyways. So I don't completely blame them, but at least I don't believe it was selling like crazy. I mean, it never hit the top 10 charts. Not a lot of people talk about it. It's just a kind of a, you know, a love letter, I guess, from them. A nice little thing, but it's a good game and it's fun. And I do love the sound design in this game. It's got great sound design, some nice special effects. And like I said, some really great puzzles, but it's one and done. But yeah, man, you know, at the end of the day, I'm okay with this because it's a good game, and I just want to see more. I'd like to see more remasters. You know, if Sony's not gonna have backwards compatibility, that's fine. But the way that worked for me was that games would get like enhanced remasters, and this is basically what that is. So I just, you know, I kind of would have liked a little bit more, but some games will do it. It's going to be a game by game basis here. Some games will be straight ported over with just some better resolution. And some will take full advantage of, like, you know, all the new features and really make something, you know, stunning, which obviously the PSVR2 we know is capable of being a very, very stunning headset. But you know, this is okay. This is basically, to me, just like a backwards compatible port with slightly better resolution, which is good. But yeah, man, I just, as somebody that's played it back in the day, I don't really have a reason to revisit it. But the PSVR version, I think, was really impressive at the time, and on the hardware, I think it was brilliant. I gave it an 8.9. For the PSVR 2 version, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. There it is. My mini review. 8 out of 10 for the Room VR. Still a great game, but just short, one and done. And that's about it. But it's a great game with great atmosphere. It's nothing, you know, it's not a reason to own a PSVR 2 headset or anything like that. Maybe at best one tiny little reason. But hey, it's a puzzle game that I liked, so that should stand for something. But those are my thoughts on the Room VR. It was fun to revisit it. It was, but definitely was like, well, you know, this is about the minimal thing I could really experience, I guess, as having played it years ago. But I'm happy it's back. And I hope if you never played it before, I hope you pick it up when it's on sale, because it's very good and you should play it. Let's see here. So guys, that brings us, I believe, to the big news, which is the month of August. Lordy have mercy. Guys, August is looking amazing, and we're gonna just run through briefly some of the games that are coming out. And again, this is only kind of like the big stuff that I know of that's announced. There's little other things going on. That there's big things going on that I just don't might be overlooking a little bit. But these are the big four that I have my eye on for next month. And I'm talking, of course, about VR Skater, Firewall Ultra, Crossfire Sierra Squad, and Phasmophobia. The big four. Really excited about next month, guys. Wow. So let's go ahead and kick it off in, with no pun intended, in chronological order. Please let this be the official release of VR Skater. I've been waiting so long for this game. It's been delayed twice now. But if the game ends up being more polished and better, then I'm totally okay with that. But, you know, I would have definitely been grinding away at this game. Again, no pun intended. Okay, maybe pun a little intended. Grinding through this game way sooner if I had the chance. But the good thing is that this game is coming out at the beginning. I mean, this is how we're starting August. And then some of the other releases are coming much later in the month. So that's a good thing. This will get us through the beginning of August, which will be nice. GC13, the Diet Pepsi Cat, says, I wonder if it has been delayed due to testing. It has been delayed. It could be for several different reasons. Their reason was that it needed some, I mean, in a way, yes. They basically stated that there was a couple issues that needed to be fixed, that things like trophies, but I'm suspecting a little bit of maybe performance or something. There likely was some big issues that they're not stating publicly. But, you know, they did at least say that there were some issues with it that they wanted to get fixed for. So in a way, yes, likely some testers, hopefully they had some good testers playing the crap out of it, you know, really chewing on it, doing a deep dive into it, and then discovering some things that they needed to be fixed. So that'll be, you know, like I said, man, if they're delaying it because it needed some bug fixes, some polish, like I'm totally okay with that. Because this is, for the smaller indie games, this is one of my more anticipated games. I've been longing for a skateboarding game for so long now. A skateboarding and a snowboarding game. I've really needed one. So I'm excited to finally, hopefully, no more delays, guys. And this is, of course, going to have a physical version as well for all the physical collectors out there. Perp Games is having a physical version of this. But, you know, I know, other than what we've seen from the trailer, I really don't know a lot about this game. So I'm not expecting like a ton of depth and variety, but I do like what I'm seeing from the core here. We're seeing multiple environments. We're seeing a couple different modes. They did talk about this big jump mode that's in here. There's some board customization, which seems pretty cool. So I hope this is satisfying. You know, it seems like the gameplay will be satisfying. Those who like this game typically say that, you know, it's really difficult at first, but then you get better at it. It's like easy to learn, hard to master. And I love games like that. That's my, you know, thing. And then if there's a reward system, like some different decks you can get, different wheels, things like that, something to reward me for putting more time in. I hope it has a platinum trophy as well, because this would be a fun one to platinum. But dude, I'm excited about this one. And so this is July 4th. I'm sorry, August 4th. Just very, very soon. Very, very soon around the corner. Cannot wait for this one. Hope it has a good soundtrack too. We shall see. But yeah, man, I hope they knock it out of the park. There's so many puns here. That's not intentional. It just fits, man. But yeah, man, you know, I want to see. I'm hoping you can string together like a bunch of different tricks and grinds and tricks and manuals, all those things. And be interesting to see if it has leaderboards. Like I said, surprisingly, I don't know like a ton about this game other than what's been previewed. And I haven't really looked much deeper than that, but really excited for this game, man. Hope to nab a physical copy as well. So that is game number 1, is VR Skater. Let me do something here real quick. And let's see here. We got some donations. While I read these donations, I'm going to put a poll and see if you guys are going to be picking up VR Skater. I want to know. Be honest. Be honest if you are picking up VR Skater. Let's see. And let's see. All right. Poll is launched. I want to know, are you guys picking it up? While you're answering that, let's look at some of these tips real quick. Kill Artist, the Dreamweaver, Game Cat. Thank you so much for the donation, man. Again, appreciate you guys' support. You know, keeping the channel ad free and everything. So you're helping your fellow YouTube watchers out. And man, you guys are just the best community ever. I love y'all. Kill Artist says, I ordered the new Thrustmaster TH8S, only $69. Nice. Shifter, and it comes tomorrow, so I am dusting off my racing rig to dive back into GT7. Dude, I'm glad you reminded me. Yeah, I'll have to definitely let me know how that is, because I've been wanting to get a shifter for GT7 for a while now. I don't really like using the paddles except for some of the vehicles that actually have the paddles in the thing. But I've been wanting to get a shifter for that because I've got the mount for it and everything. It's the final piece of my VR rig puzzle that I'm missing. So yeah, man, let me know how that is. I hope it turns out well. It'd be fun. I hope it adds to the immersion and makes the gameplay better, all the things. But yeah, man, let me know how it is. That's cool. Macho Vasquez, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. He said, you beat me to it. He says, Macho. Says, hi, AJ. Hello, Macho. Glad I finally caught another live stream. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Happy Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. And hope you all are having fun with your PSVR2s out there. And looking forward to this month. Speaking of this month, VR Skater is just the beginning. That's just a little palate cleanser, something to get us warmed up, because holy crap, there is more going on in the month. We'll get back to this. Poll in just a second. There's so many comments here, guys. I want to see what all you're saying as well. Thank you guys, man. I really appreciate y'all coming out here, being yourselves, having fun. Good shit, man. What up, Dead Ringer? So let's kick it back to real quick the mailbag, and this, because this has to do with the upcoming games we're going to be talking about here. And this is from let's see here. Easy money. Said AJ, simple question. For some that likes AAA's replayability and single player campaigns, is it Firewall or Sierra? And he also said he got his Hans VR lenses today, and wow, all I can say. That's cool, man. But he asked for AAA, for replayability, and for single player campaign, is it Firewall or Sierra? Well, have I got an answer for you, my friend? But before I answer that, let's go ahead and end this poll. I didn't give you guys a bunch of time. Let's see here. The poll with, oh, hold on. I was wondering why I couldn't. Oh, wow. Okay, so much to my surprise, we're going to end the poll here. 54% are not getting VR Skater. You are not picking it up. 45% are. Very interesting. So, almost half of you are getting it. Fair enough. Not every game is for everyone. That's good. There's no hate. There's no hate, Daringly Average Game Snake. People are into what they're into. I told them to be honest. So I appreciate your honesty. I always, I will take your honesty above all else. Unless your honesty is just dumb, then I don't want your honesty. Then lie to me, baby. No, I'm kidding. No, but that's let's see, only out of 35 votes as well. So, very interesting. And like I said, I appreciate your honesty. We'll see how this game does. It'll be interesting to see if this game does well. If I had to guess, the reason people are not picking this up, because there's a lot of stuff coming out this month. But yeah, man. So to answer Easy's question, he asked if he's into AAA replay ability and single player. Well, my friend, here's the thing, is I haven't played either game. So I don't know which one is going to be better. But please, God, please, I'm asking you, please make one, if not both games, awesome. Because I'd like to see a couple more of this, a game. I love deep games that you can sink a lot of time into. Really, when it comes to, so I believe August 24th is the first game to release. And this is, of course, Firewall 0 Hour. Now, the best things I can say about this game really come from my experience of the first title. But things have changed a little bit. Now, simple question. Do I expect this game to be good? Yes, I do expect it to be good. I expect it to be very good, and I hope it's very good. Do I know? No, I have no idea. Like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple launch hiccups, because a lot of online multiplayer games in particular, they typically can launch with some issues sometimes. It's not uncommon for that to happen. When the original Firewall launched, it had some minor issues, very, very minor though. I was actually very surprised how well it worked at launch. The party system was a little buggy. Other than that though, but yeah, man, I'm expecting this game to be really, really good, because it takes the first game and then, basically takes the first game and makes it a 1.5 version. This game has great map design, has great gameplay, great immersion. Obviously, the the kind of thing that I would have liked to see at launch would have been manual reloads, the ultra mode, the more realism mode. Um, but I still think that this game is potentially going to be loads of fun, have a great progression system like it did the first time. I'm hoping visually it looks really nice because I like what I'm seeing from the preview. Um, this game, I always talk about it when it was on PSVR. This game was very much an kind of an oddity because it was, in my opinion, the biggest headset seller that was not a known IP by far. People were playing this game years later. I mean, some of that has to do with their post-launch support, and that's another thing that you need to make a note of. Is that First Contact Entertainment did a wonderful job with their post-launch support of the game. When it came to like releasing new maps, they did do like a whole overhaul that kind of took the game out for like a month. But I kind of forgave it because they were trying to overhaul. It was a big undertaking what they tried to do, and they continued to they do it. Not everything was perfect, but let me say, for at least a good 2 years, I want to say, the game, the post-launch support was amazing. I mean, they just kept adding more content to it, and it was really, really good stuff. So I'm not only excited about this game at launch, but I'm excited about the future as well. They've made improvements to a lot of things that people have asked for from the first title, like dedicated servers, like 3-round matches, the upgrades using just the hardware itself. Of course, that remains to be seen by ourselves firsthand. But what I'm seeing, what I'm seeing here is I'm liking what I'm seeing because, again, if you're not going to have backwards compatibility with the PSVR2, the next best thing you can do is like remaster, port the game over. And then the next really best thing you can do is like remaster the game to take advantage of the next gen features, which is what they've done here. Sure, there's a couple things missing, like the manual reloading at launch and stuff like that, but not everybody, people have been kind of back and forth about that. I'm definitely team manual reload, just like I'm team full IK. All these things, they do have full IK in this, which is nice. I'm so happy they brought back the lobbies too. When it comes to, so easy to answer your question, when it comes to a AAA game, this very much feels, Firewall was very much to me a AAA. It felt like a AAA game, which is, I think, part of the reason it had such long legs. This was literally, this game like straight up carried PSVR multiplayer on its back for 2 years. This was the only game that ever kept a player base all the way up until the end of PSVR. This game was the only game to do that. So there's good reason behind that. And I'm hoping that it has the same kind of legs here. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to playing this. August 24th, I will see you there. My friends list went from like 4 people to like 200 when this game came out. It was really, really an incredible game, and I hope they do it again, man. It's a high bar that they set by themselves. And it's a tall order to ask for it to be at least on par with the first game. But at least we know a lot of the first game is a big core of this, so that's promising. So I'm going to put out, before we get to Crossfire Sierra Squad, I am going to put out another poll and see who all is getting Firewall Ultra. Let's see if this fares better than VR Skater did. And again, just be honest. It's okay. Whether you are or not, totally fine. And I will reveal that in just a moment. Real quick, Mac Manus says, get both. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my plan, is to get both. You know, I hope that there's, you know, it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, if in a perfect world, both of these games are going to turn out great. For easy, so for AAA quality, I would say Firewall for that it does have this. I'm not saying that Crossfire won't. I'm just saying in terms of like what made Firewall 0 Hour great was that it was very close to AAA quality, and it was very replayable. Absolutely. Single player, however, if you want it for single player, no, do not. It was not a single player game. I would have never recommended anybody play Firewall for single player only. No, and most competitive online multiplayer shooter games I do not recommend. Some people were asking me like, what was it? For Pavlov, they were like, if I only want to play single player for Pavlov, no, these games aren't designed for that. So Kino dude, he's got a. This guy's name is Kino, dude. Toss me a ninja slice, bro. Kino. Oh my God. Ninja Turtles 2 reference. Gotta love it, man. The Secret of the Ooze. The greatest horrible movie ever made. And next time I'll use mustard. Dude, I can quote that whole movie. I'm not even joking. The reason was I had it on VHS, and I watched both of those movies on VHS like way too much. I needed more VHS. I love that movie though. Dude, that makes me so happy to see Kino in the chat. What up, homie? Get your scooter. Let's go. Let's see here. Bad Robo says, where's the maybe answer? Yeah, I thought about maybe adding another one, but I didn't yet. But that would be nice. Let's see here. All right, so I know I'm not giving lots of time. I know I'm not getting lots of time to vote, but I'm going to go ahead and end this here. We're just doing a sample size. Oh my God, maybe I shouldn't end the poll because I see the poll jumping around like crazy. So this is literally, I'm going to go ahead and end it. This is literally, oh, it jumped up a little bit. It might have gone up even more. This is literally like the opposite of VR Skater. So originally 55 said no. For Firewall Ultra, 55% said yes. So more than half of you are going to be picking up Firewall Ultra. Well, I will see you there. Very good. Very good. So that, of course, is not the only game that is coming out. We are 50% through August right now. Of course, like I said, VR Skater, and then there's a long wait for the end of the month. Next time I'll dream of something a bit thinner. Oh God. Anyways, he's gonna kill me with the Ninja Turtles 2 quotes. Anyways, I digress. Serial Killer says new poll: Firewall / VR Skater / neither / both. But anyways, so this isn't the only shooter. So this is the thing, is that we've also got Crossfire Sierra Squad, and we've got some new details that they just dropped for this. But let me get the trailer going. I don't have like any great trailer here. Just got one of them, the kind of Call of Duty style trailer. But we got an official release date for Crossfire Sierra Squad, and it is coming late August 29th, 1 week apart, like just over 1 week, or just right around 1 week apart. Less than 1 week. We've got Crossfire and Firewall dropping at the same time. Like I said, in a perfect world, hopefully both of these are really good. The good news is that they're not the exact same game. They're both kind of like modern military shooters, first person shooters and stuff. But the good news is that they offer something a little bit different. I've heard from Wes's, hands-on impressions over at GDC, Game Developers Conference, that he went to. Him and a couple other people actually shared some feedback on this game, and they said it was pretty nice. Now, they only got to play like a level or two, but they said like the production values were pretty nice, and that the gunplay felt really good. And we did get a little bit more info from the trailer that they posted a new PlayStation blog, said that it's coming the 29th. There was, of course, Nathy VR, for those who don't know, is a VR YouTuber, longtime VR YouTuber, really swell fella too, really nice kid. Like this dude. He's always been very, very nice to just everybody. And I like nice people, man. They're good in my book. But anyways, he got to go hands-on with it and shared some impressions. And then I didn't actually watch his video yet, so I will. But I did get some impressions from some people commenting about it. And they gave kind of his little takeaways from the thing. Now, the disclaimer here is that it was not the final build. This is from a Redditor, by the way, that summarized his video thoughts. But he says that the disclaimer, it's not the final build, that the gunplay feel is great, that the guns make good use of the sense controllers. That's good. That's really important. Really, really important that games have good haptics, adaptive triggers, good force feedback, everything. Says that there's no melee, and which I wasn't really expecting anyways. Firewall does have a little bit of a melee element to it. There is a new knife, or I don't know if that was always... No, there was always a knife. But now you actually physically use the knife. So they've made it a little bit more thing here, a little bit more realistic. The hybrid reloading system where it's not, it's read as semi-realistic. So none of these games, man, both these games missed out on manual reloading. We know that Firewall is going to be doing it later. This game has a hybrid reload system where it's not fully manual reloading, but it's also not just a button press and it reloads. Obviously, I've said before, I prefer manual reloading. It'll be interesting to see how people feel about that after launch. If manual reloading is like here to stay, if people prefer that overall. I would think people prefer that overall. I would think so. Pavlov is a good example of most people really like that because Pavlov's is selling like hotcakes and does really well. To me, it's manual reloading is like should be like a standard moving forward. Like I thought this was a pretty well-known thing, and to do otherwise lends yourself more to an arcade game. But Crossfire in particular has mentioned that they, are kind of arcade inspired gameplay. So it kind of makes sense. Uses eye tracking for foveated rendering only. The levels are linear. You can move around areas, but need to go to a trigger point to progress. I'm just hoping it's not like Bravo Team. Like I'm okay with the game being a little bit more linear. Bravo Team was node teleportation though, so this is at least full locomotion, which is good. Now AI says was a mixed bag. Some adapt and maneuver, and others stand and watch. That is pretty common to happen in some games, but there's a caveat to that, and I'm gonna get to that here, where it says realism mode will be the best way to get the most fun out of the game. The realism mode is 100% the way I intended on playing this game. I had zero intention of playing it otherwise. Maybe to warm up or something, maybe just to get familiar with the game. But I, from the beginning, was thinking realism mode would be the way to play this. That's just that's what makes, that usually just lends itself to having more immersive mechanics, more intense style gameplay. I know not everybody likes games. I like that there's options here. But I'm typically somebody that likes more of an intense, thrilling experience over a casual, light experience, especially when it comes to like a shooter. Shooters can be difficult though, especially on higher difficulties. They can be pretty brutal, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, man. So the realism mode, I'm very much looking forward to. I'm hoping from what it sounds like though, it's more just like you get shot a couple times, like you have less health. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that realism mode also affects the AI. And again, I was a little uncertain whether I wanted to comment on this video because I haven't watched it yet. I don't know all the information on it. Sometimes I know playing games on different difficulties can affect the AI. Hubris is a great example. Hubris, I think, on the lower difficulties was crap gameplay wise, but on the highest difficulty, I actually thought it was really fun. I mean, like classic first person shooter fun. It wasn't like super difficult, but I just felt like it made the AI react and act a lot more fun to go against, a lot more competitive, which I liked. They say that the progression system is great, that it's very deep and keeps you hooked. That's very good to hear because I care a lot about progression systems. I care a lot about having a reason to replay a game. I like being rewarded for replaying games. Not every game has to have a deep progression system. Not every game, needs it. But I do. If it's well balanced and if it's properly designed, then I do love a good progression system. The campaign story is basic, but co-op modes are great fun. Now, Easy was asking which one of these between Firewall and Crossfire would be the better single player game. That definitely sounds like it would be Crossfire Sierra Squad when it comes to single player. Now, there are some features of Firewall we don't know about yet. But again, it's kind of a gray area. But I would assume that just like the first game, Firewall's biggest strength is the either the competitive 4v4, pretty much online competitive 4v4. It had a single player mode, but dude, if a game's not designed around it, then you're just playing against bots. You're playing the same game against bots, and I don't like that. It's not fun. It gets boring very fast. And, at least this has like a story-driven campaign with it. With bosses, this information comes from the PlayStation blog. They talk about enemy variety, different bosses, a lot of other things like that. This is where the interesting part is, too. Single-player campaign is about 4-ish hours. So it's a 4-hour single-player campaign. So to keep that in mind as well. But the co-op is about 16-ish hours. Not including the Horde mode. So, if we go over to the PlayStation blog, and sorry I'm missing a lot of you guys' comments, but I'm trying to stay focused here on the info dumps. Let's see here. Let's bring up this thing here. Let's look at the PlayStation blog and what they have to say here. Because they did share a little bit more information, some really good information too. So they did talk about, a lot of the stuff we've been through before. They just talk about some of the features that they're taking advantage of. The graphics, we do see a little bit of, graphically, this is looking very, very nice. August 29th, baby. New look at some of the drones in battle. Of course, taking advantage of the haptics, adaptive triggers. So 13 main campaign missions supposedly last about 4 hours, single player. 50 squad campaign missions, this is also single player or co-op. So you can play the squad campaigns That's interesting. So this is just single player, and then there's 50 squad missions that you can also play single player. God, I swear they make this more confusing every single time. So this is 2-player co-op. You can do 50 squad or single player, so that's good. So definitely a huge gap, a huge lead here when it comes to the single player content. And then of course the horde mode, which is the 4-player co-op. Which I'm really excited to see. I'm not usually a big horde mode person because they typically just end up being a repetitive wave shooter, and not great. But if they have some good progression mechanics, some creativity behind it, it could actually be pretty good. I mean, the highest bar that I've ever seen set by a horde mode was it Left 4 Dead, or was it I didn't play a lot of Xbox, but the horde mode in the co-op horde mode in Gears of War was amazing. I'm not gonna have that high of an expectation here, but I will be interested to see how it turns out. I'm all about the single player, and the 2-player co-op in this is what I'm mostly interested in. So nice to see that there are 63 missions in that regard. 63 missions. There are 7 types of enemies. That's a lot of types of enemies. That's pretty great, actually. There's enemies as well as drones, bosses, heavily armed vehicles. Pretty good stuff, man. So the good news here, the best news, in fact, about this game is we've gotten a price point as well, and that price point is $29.99. I love the competition between, of course, if one of these games, between this or Firewall, if one comes out and it's really bad, which I'm hoping they won't be, I don't expect them to be, then one of the others obviously going to win. Dear God, please don't let them both be bad. That would make me so sad if they were. But $29.99 for 63 single player missions, 50 single player or co-op 2-player, and then the horde mode. The game supposedly is very polished, very good looking graphically, so that's nice. But what I love is that, I'm looking at this as Firewall for my competitive online multiplayer PvP fix, and then I'm looking at this game for my single player, maybe co-op fix, because I do love co-op PvE games. I played the shit out of Resistance. Resistance is, I don't know why that's the first that comes to mind, but the Resistance 1 and 2, Fall of Man and Resistance 2, I loved playing those co-op with a friend, and so this is definitely going to be more so my single player campaign story driven game. But good shit, man. So love the price point. I love that, again, Firewall is maybe the bigger, I don't know. It's hard to say which one has the edge in terms of getting the most people. I would think Firewall does, but this has had a little bit of both have had kind of like a off and on marketing push from Sony. We'll see if that plays a role. It seems like lately that Sierra Squad has had the bigger stage push over Firewall. It seems like it has. Gamertag says Resistance series was great. Dude, I love Resistance. He says, but where the F is Killzone VR? Killzone would make a great VR game, but man, I will say all day, every day. Like I did like Resistance a lot more. I liked Killzone a lot, especially Killzone 2 and 3. But Resistance, dude, Resistance 1, 2, and 3, I thought were all excellent. I do think Killzone would maybe make a better VR game just because the atmosphere and the graphics and the style and the enemies and stuff. But goddamn, I think at least when it comes to the old school games, I think Resistance series destroyed Killzone. But yeah, man. So I love the competition, the friendly competition, I will call it, because I'm excited about both Firewall and Crossfire. I hope they're both really good, because they're offering something a little bit different. And these seem like a good, just something we need, man. And we've also got Pavlov, which has my Counter-Strike fix. So it'll be interesting to compare these later on, see which one. I'm obviously going to need to spend lots of time with Crossfire and Firewall first before to really finalize my thoughts. Firewall is going to have, of course, the the great PvP action. This is going to have the great co-op single player action, hopefully. And yeah, man, cannot wait for this. Super hyped. So before we move on to the final hype game of August, I'm going to ask, so we're going to see here, start a poll, getting Crossfire Zero Squad. So far, we had 45% said no to, here, I don't want to do this. I'll do this because you guys asked. I don't want to put a maybe option because I feel like maybe's going to win. Just try to have, at this moment, if you had the chance to buy it right now, do you think you're going to buy it? Crossfire Sierra Squad. So go ahead and answer the poll there. And I'm going to see what you guys are saying before we move on to the final big game of August that we know about. Supposedly, like, Numata might be coming. But dude, I'm stoked for this game. I've always liked kind of like weird spin-off obscure shooters. I don't know why. I mean, I like some big ones too, but I've always been a really big fan of like these weird spin-off shooters for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. I just have. Anybody remember Section 8 Prejudice? Anybody remember that? Warhawk? Okay, Warhawk was kind of big. I wasn't into Starhawk though. Man, yeah, like I said, Resistance, dude. Resistance multiplayer was so great. But love the price point here. Competitive price point versus Firewall. $10 less for the regular version. Of course, again, different experiences though. I can't give you an answer on my favorite Horde co-op. Oh, no, I can. I can give you a favorite on my favorite co-op shooter of all time. Although I think I played it mostly single player. Off the top of my head, and this is a game I would love in VR. Never gonna happen though. When I was talking about how I love obscure shooters, dude, Lost Planet 2. I don't think I really played it co-op though, so it doesn't really apply. But I just gotta throw some love out to Lost Planet 2 because I love that game so much, and I would kill for it in VR. Yeah, as far as Horde co-op shooter, I don't know. Left 4 Dead 2 was really good. PvP, I mean, so many, dude. So many games. Everything from Counter-Strike to Halo 3. I've barely played. I've owned an Xbox for 1 month in my entire life. But I used to go to my friend's house all the time and play Halo 3 multiplayer because that shit was good. Let's see here. I'm not going to give the poll too much longer here, so we can get to our final game and see what else you guys are saying here. DJ Dirty Yellow says, I know I'm late, but I hate manual reloading. No problem, man. It's interesting. I do think the majority, if I had to guess, my gut instinct tells me the majority of people actually like manual reloading because it's like, again, to me, that's like one of the reasons that makes VR stand out. It's like I prefer opening a door or manual reloading or I love picking up objects versus just pressing a button. I like all those things. I can see many scenarios where, you know, I don't think we've had many games that don't have like a manual reload function. So I don't really have finalized thoughts on it yet, other than I prefer manual reloading. But I haven't had a chance to, since manual reloading's been a thing, to go backwards and try something without it. Gears of War definitely had a great horde mode. I, again, didn't have an Xbox, but would play it at a friend's, played that horde mode at a friend's. And it was really good. But yeah, that's a tough question. I'd have to like sit outside all night and think about it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end this poll for Sierra Squad. Oh my God, look at this, you guys! The biggest winner of tonight so far has been Crossfire Sierra Squad. Very interesting. Y'all a bunch of introverts is what that tells me. You're a bunch of introverts just like me, and that's why I love you. I think you'll be surprised though. One thing that made Firewall special was, and this is not something that is common in the first-person shooter genre. Typically, first-person shooters have like the worst fan bases, or player bases, I should say, not fan bases, but player bases. The people you run into at like 3 a.m. and stuff are usually just like, or like, bleh. You'd be surprised. One of the things that made Firewall so great was how cool the player base was. Yes, there's probably a rotten stinker every now and then, but for the most part, the audience of Firewall was typically really cool, and I made so many friends on there. M Mo says yes, RE8 reloading was perfect. I agree, man. RE8. If you took the manual reloading out of RE8, I mean that would hurt the game so much for me. Like that's partially like the point for me. Let's see here. I love the manual reloading in Pavlov, and even though it's a little bit, more of a learning curve, at the end you should ask how many people said yes to all of them. How many did you say yes to, and give us a 1 through 4. So it seems like price point has something to do with the advantage that Crossfire has here in the early polls. Again, it'll be interesting to see. I hope both these games are good, and I hope both of them do well. That would be the ideal situation here. It would bother me a lot more if they were very like the exact same thing, but I'm, because typically when I saw both these were coming out like a week apart, I was like, man, that's some bullshit. Why you got to give us this game right next to each other, back to back? But the twist there, luckily, is that they are offering something slightly different. Thank God. And yeah, I mean, Firewall has established itself from last gen. I mean, I still to this day think you could argue Firewall was the best game on PSVR 1. No joke. Using the aim controller especially. So those changes are going to be interesting to see. I straight up wouldn't hesitate to put Firewall at number 1 as the best PSVR game. It was that good because I'm not a big, there's every once in a blue moon, there's a multiplayer shooter I get into, and that game definitely got me into it. Robert Lawrence's price point and it has a campaign is why you're interested into thing. Yeah, man, price point is no joke. But guys, this brings us to, so can't wait for those. August 24th, August 29th, Firewall, Crossfire. Hope they're both good, man. That's the best we could all hope for. There is, of course, one more game coming out, and that is one of my most anticipated horror games, one of two, I would say, and that is Phasmophobia. Oh, I've been really, we've been begging for this game for a long time now. I know it kind of already exists on PCVR. Um, but we get so many like scary games, horror games, all sorts of stuff on PSVR. A lot of indie games too, but a lot of them are just like horror themes, but they're not like true horror games. What excites me about this, and I will for the record say, I'm also very excited about Madison VR. Phasmophobia and Madison VR, uh, definitely my two most anticipated horror games of 2023. Because in 2024 likely is when we'll get Resident Evil 4 remake, which is going to be stupid good. Might end up being the best game on PSVR2. Wouldn't surprise me. But dude, Phasmophobia, co-op ghost hunting. It's had, it's been out for a while now, so it's had time to get more polish, get more features, and that's the part that's exciting to me, is that this game came out a while ago, but we're going to be getting the best version of this game without a shadow of a doubt. And it's coming to all consoles, as the trailer said. I believe it's going to be crossplay as well, I think. Cross-platform play. That would be nice for sure. But yeah, I mean, this is perfect. This, it's right. It's a little bit before. I was expecting this game and to come out closer to Halloween, but that's okay. Maybe by the time Halloween comes out, it'll get a price drop, and we'll be awesome. But Looper says, what do you think about the gameplay? I mean, the gameplay, I don't really know a ton about this game, other than you go to a location, you use this equipment, that you use this equipment to try and hunt down these ghosts, basically. And actually, what's, I almost forgot. I'm so glad I remembered this at the last second. But we actually had some new news about Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia. So we actually had some additional news. They announced this. We'll take it over to the Twitters real quick. Let's check this out because they shared some new stuff here. Let's see. All right. They said, hey, Ghost Hunters, a small change in Phasmophobia plans. We're pushing our biggest update ever back 2 weeks to mid-August for some final polish. As of now, console release late August is still on track. Sneak peeks coming soon. Your patience is appreciated. Happy hunting. So there is apparently a big update incoming. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about what this big update that's incoming entails, but hopefully it's just more content. And they're saying they're going to they pushed it back so that they can polish it up, that the game is still going to release at the normal release schedule. Gamertag sharing some news here on it. About a possible feature that might be missing. On their Discord, they stated you can't use the PSVR2 mic to call out Ghost, which, to be honest, is a massive part of the fun. Instead, you will get text boxes. I could see that not being as fun, but I don't know if that's a deal breaker for me, though. I can see that, obviously that's a slight hit to the immersion. And maybe that's something that changes by the time it comes out. I definitely think that would make it scarier to call stuff out, but I don't know. I don't think that's a must to make the game scary, to make it, scary still, but I can see that being a cool feature. And yeah, hopefully we'll have to wait and see, how that pans out. But yeah, I would much rather use my real voice. Voice immersion is pretty cool. It's not something, you know, it's not something that it's really used a lot. So, it was like something that was used in Saints and Sinners, and it's cool. But definitely as like a streamer, it, it was something I actually had to play with most of the time off, but we'll see. Maybe there'll be a workaround. Maybe they'll get it patched and updated to where it'll work eventually if it doesn't right away. But yeah, we'll have to just wait and see. But that being said, man, I'm still super excited. I'm going into this game pretty much blind. I don't know a lot about it other than just the core mechanics of it. I've really tried to avoid as many spoilers as I can for this game. So, so it'll be interesting to just kind of go in there and get the surprise. I'm glad I held off this long, but man, again, this and Madison VR, my absolute most anticipated horror games by far. Although, damn, man, there's still some good horror games coming. Some other good ones as well. So, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some other stuff happening around Halloween, spooky season, to be excited for. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. But yeah, man, super cool. Can't wait to see this. Guys, August is going to be insane. Cannot wait. I'm really excited from what we know about VR Skater, man, Firewall Ultra, Crossfire Sierra Squad, and Phasmophobia, the big four that we know about. It could be more stuff. So really, really exciting, man. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. These shows have been getting longer. This was not supposed to be this long of a show. I guess I had a lot to talk about today, but man, really appreciate you guys for your support as always. Thank you for just coming and hanging out, having a good time as always. Happy Friday Eve to all of you. Appreciate you guys, man. Love y'all. Y'all the best, man. And the VR community is just something else, man. It's really, really something special to be a part of. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Make things awesome. Appreciate y'all. Thank you as well to those who donated, supported the show, keeping the channel ad-free. I really appreciate it, man. Shout out to you lovely people down here on the Patreon. Everything's been good here. Like I said, man, I'm working 11 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I appreciate y'all's patience while I'm so busy, and I'm trying to do whatever I can in the free time I have. And then in the other free time I have, just gaming, baby. But yeah, man, good shit. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful rest of the night. Thank you, all of you. Join our Discord if you haven't. It's a lot of fun in there. And I will see you guys again very soon. Have a fun and safe weekend. I'll see you again. Laters. Guys rock, man.